Good evening and welcome to the studio this evening. I'm all kind of left and right, knocking things over, setting things up, and I need to turn the volume down on whatever that is. There we go. Okay. And I've just had something to eat. I keep wanting to clear my throat. It's been a bit of a busy day. And I'm kind of just meh. So just setting up. So I figured, no, I'm not going to restart just yet. I know there's updates to be installed. I'm not even sure if it's this computer. So yes, I'm just setting up. What was I going to say? Yes, I'm not. Okay, I'm still building the truck, the remote control truck, but it's at the painting stage now. It is painted-ish. So I have done. It's got hair on it. Go away, hair. I have done some painting. This is the roof. Which at certain angles looks like it needs another coat, and other angles doesn't. But that's kind of because it's a slightly two-tone paint. But that needs to be varnished before I can assemble it. Varnished, clear coated, put a top coat on top, and I don't have that. I've got to do that in the garage, and I only just finished painting that last night. It took us an awful lot of time to do that shiny paint, pearlized paint, so that's got to be top coated. I will maybe do, no, I won't be doing any of that tomorrow. So Thursday will be the next opportunity I have to do that. So it'll be another week or so before we can carry on assembling the truck. When those have been done, I've also got the seats and the seats and the dashboard to be painted, because they don't want painting the blue. They want something else. So I'm doing some pyrography. This is another pyrographic project that I want to do. I was about to say need to do. Need is a different matter, but I want to do. This shed. So I'm picking the easy way out of doing this. I'm going to do a trace down. That way I can get on with it, especially given the fact that I'm starting late. So I don't want to use, let's use the grey for this. Red or blue is great for, let's get some more. Red or blue is great for doing glass. This works better with grey or black. Have I got enough? Yeah, I've just got enough there. Pencil. I have a pencil around here, we go. And I'm going to change my glasses. These days I need to, which is a bit weird, I need to be able to see. And I've just realised that I did something this weekend, did something on Friday just before this weekend where I didn't need my glasses. And that's puzzled me a little bit. But I'll tell you more about that later. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is just pick up the outline of this. Actually, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the board outlines on this as well. So I'm going to be making this not, I was about to say neater. It's not actually what I'm going to be doing. What I'm going to be doing with this is, it's going to look dilapidated, somewhat like this, but I'll be missing some of the things like the power cable that's there, and the table. Now I could draw this out by hand. It would take an awfully long time, relatively speaking, to do that. So I don't really want to take the time to do it. The kind of the fun bits, the pyrography. I can draw it, I'm just choosing not to. Because otherwise we'll spend the rest of the stream drawing this out. So I'm kind of just looking for the main lines in this. Now the window frames are going to be interesting because they're going to have to be negative space to be white. Now if I've roughly got everything in there, and if I have, yeah, so let's put some of the boards in. Incidentally, this sort of board work is called waney edge timber, not wavy edge, although some people do call it that, but waney edge. Quite what that means, I'm not sure. I know what it is. This is the edge of the tree, so it wasn't cut smooth. They left the side of the tree on the wood when they cut it. You mostly see this sort of stuff on fences, and it's really cut rather thin there. And part of the reason why they do it on fences, because it's cheaper than throwing that bit of wood away, which would be the edge of the tree. If they include it in the panel that they put on the fence, then they don't have to throw it away, save some money. but if you specifically want it, it's expensive stuff, which is kind of ironic in a way. No idea what it looks like under there, so we're just going to do something like that to sort of cheat, and we'll put another one in there like that. Nearly. What does that look like? That'll do. Okay, so we can put this away. Hello Wolfie, how are you? Okay, well, I've got some news on Wednesday then, or I could say so I'm going to do some pyrography on the shed. How have you been? You're disappearing, so you may not have time to say, but how have you been? I've seen you for a while. Obviously you've been rather busy. We put that to one side over there, and I'll take this off of here. Right, so we've got about half an hour left, so we'll get on with doing some stuff with this. It's that long since I've done pyrography. I'm now looking at this thinking, just what do I start with? We probably start by doing some rough shading, I think. So we'll start. I'll turn on the pyrography machine. God, it's been a long time since I've done any of this. Yeah, is that hot yet? Nope. It will get hot unless I switch to the right tool. That is warming up. Heat. Heat's wonderful stuff. Interesting stuff. Been dealing with a lot of it at the back end of last week. That was quite hot. That was. That's a Christmas bauble. Well, it's a bauble, which could be used for Christmas. A little bit weird. It's a bit funny shaped, off-centered. But I don't think it's bad, considering what it is and what it represents. Because what that represents is the very first bauble or glass blowing I ever did, or have ever done. Did that on Friday. Now then, I don't have a piece of test wood, so let's just start and just do some marking so I can get rid of the black lines. I don't need that one on the right, so where's my eraser? Right, for once I remembered to sand this board before I started as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how differently it takes the pyrography, because it's a long time since I did any pyrography on a smooth board. I'm wondering whether or not to actually know what we're going to do here is we're going to colour the bricks, and we'll put, yeah, the mortar's lighter, isn't it? It would be. Which means what's under there is dark. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's put this line in. Yes, it's going to be interesting. I'm thinking that's feeling a bit hot. Given that I was working with a torch at a couple of thousand degrees, I don't actually know what it is, a couple of thousand degrees or so, I'm rather surprised. I'm thinking that's hot. But there again, I wasn't directing the heat from that torch right onto my thumb, which is what's happening here. So at this point, I don't actually know how I'm going to represent most of this. This here almost represents some of the most darkest space. So I certainly have my colour range mapped, because I've got the darkest space and I've got the lightest, which is the white. Now I'm not too worried about a perfect straight line here, mainly because it's a brick, not perfect. So this is kind of a sentimental picture. This shade is going to be knocked down shortly. I was going to say rebuilt, but replaced with one that looks similar, because this one has somewhat past its best, isn't really repairable. The floor's collapsed, the roof is collapsing, the sides aren't too bad. But the door doesn't fit very well anymore, so it's going to be rebuilt, and then I'm going to be able to use part of it for making things like that. Okay, this brown isn't as dark as it's going to go, but we'll leave it at this brown level for the moment. We can always make, well, we will be making it darker, but I'm kind of, well, I don't know whether I want to ease into this or just go for it. Ow! Yeah, it's kind of a mid. And again, when it's brickwork, it's not uniform. There's not a great deal of, well, there is quite a bit of texture, but I don't know quite how much of that texture I'm going to put in. I was going to say there isn't a great deal of texture, there is, but it's not like fur or anything like that. Interesting working with this smoothed wood though. What did I sand this with? 1500 grit. So it's smoothish. It's actually not as smooth as 1500 grit suggests, but the pen does actually glide differently. I always forget to sand. And one of the effects of that is you get a rough surface and the pores don't close up on the wood, and when you apply pyrography you can sometimes get sort of spotty patchy sort of surfaces which you know, just a little bit of skill you can work around. Sometimes it can be difficult to get very light shades, of which I am getting here, so it's definitely preferable to sand before you apply pyrography. Start with a smooth surface, but this is kind of like must be about one of the first times I've ever done it, and it is making a difference. It just feels a little bit more controllable. Yeah, doing the grass might be challenging. Not sure how we'll do that. One of the thoughts for doing it may well be to take a green pencil and actually draw the grass in. So actually I'm working with about 5.5 on the temperature. Don't know what that temperature is, but it's lower than I normally would work with this pen. Okay, so this is brickwork, but what I'll do is I'll probably darken the bricks down in some way. I don't know whether I actually put a full brick grid across there, or just sort of kind of like highlight individual odd bricks, very much like I might do if I was doing a stone wall, for example. I would tend not to do all the individual stones. I'd just sort of highlight the odd one, just so that you get the idea, hey, that's a stone wall, and Yeah, I can see the odd one in there. Bricks are kind of slightly different though, but the nice thing with something like this is that I can actually just sort of highlight one or two, see what it looks like, provided I get them in the right place, and if I do, then I can always go back afterwards and so if I don't like the effect, I can go back around afterwards and sort of fill the rest in. Yeah, then this one's a bit darker, so the light's coming that way in this particular image I'm looking at. Yeah, there's 2 and a bit courses of bricks. Now in theory that ought to be quite a sharp line, so let's do a little bit, see if I can just sharpen that up a bit. And I'll be a little bit careful, so yeah, I'm going to leave this. I was trying to decide whether I will, for the moment at least, leave a little bit of a light space there, just to represent the mortar on the side. Yeah, I'll do. One of the things I want to do as well is they are all black. You know what, I can do that. So let's have a little bit more heat here. What I'm going to do is go over most of this veiny edge timber. And the neat thing here is I can actually go over the dark lines, because I don't like saying burning wood, because I'm cooking the wood dark enough that they either don't show up or they make the burn look darker, which is fine by me in this particular case. What isn't is the heat of the tool. Yeah, the thought occurs to me one of these days. I wonder what would happen if you used something like a blue laser, which was auto-focusing on the wood. I say auto-focusing because it works, the laser works best if it's actually focused to a point rather than a dot. But you've got to be quite accurate then about your heights if you do that. So if you focus it, you need less power in your laser to affect wood than if you just use sort of the main, the dot that comes out the laser, the unfocused laser. I wonder if you could handhold a laser diode in such a way that you could actually sort of cook wood like with pyrography. and be able to draw different colours and fill it in. Be an interesting sort of exercise, I think, to try, which I may well do because I do have some laser diodes here. In fact, I think I've got two, both for a laser cutter. Now, it's a small laser cutter. I think the bed size is only about that, and it will only cut paper, but it will mark wood, and you can actually lay a raster image down of like a photograph, for example. But I've got two. I've got the standard one, that it was a Kickstarter. I've got the what was the standard laser that came with the Kickstarter, if you like, and then an upgraded higher power blue laser that they offered. I don't know if they originally offered it as part of the Kickstarter or afterwards, or whether I can't actually really remember now how I acquired it, but it was all associated with the Kickstarter. So if I built that, then one of the diodes would be free and I could try something like this. Because then you could use a laser like a pencil. Now I don't quite know what shading I want to employ on this timber here. Certainly shadow or wood markings down. I don't know if it's shadow, but sort of like dirty or different coloured wood, because it's been subject, these areas protect an area. When the sun's shining down on wood, it eventually dries out. It sort of goes grey, silver sort of colours, depending on what wood it is. It sort of weathers. But things like the edge of this Wayne-ish timber protect the board underneath, which retains the brown colour. And as I get up into here, as you can see well, you can't see on the picture, but on the picture, the wood is more brown up here and silver down here. So there's certainly some shading to do, but not quite sure what yet. Now I am lifting the tool off and giving it time basically to warm back up, whilst I am only using the edge, the toe of the tool. I am sucking heat out of it when I put it down on the wood. I want it to be reasonably dark, so I'm pulling it off, letting it heat up, and then I can go back down. And I continue to get a reasonably consistent colour image then across the board. Now then, that's there. Then we've got a line across there. That's the bottom of that, so I'm going to have another one. There, which joins up with that Wayne edge. Ow. try and keep my thumb away from the heat, but it doesn't always work because I'm kind of not using this tool. Well, it's meant to be used like that, so the heat comes up there. I'm using it like this to use the sharp edge of the tool, which is even better than using like a knife edge. I don't get the knife edge cuts into the wood, this kind of doesn't. Or using a pencil tip, which is like this, which is a round edge. I can't get such fine lines as I do using this. But the disadvantage is the heat then rises. Partly attracted by my thumb, because the heat's rising off my thumb, air's coming up like this, so air is moving in to come up off my thumb, which draws warm air from around this tool up that way. Once it starts coming this way, the warm air rising from the tool drags more, and it's kind of like a vicious circle. So it gets quite hot. But you kind of don't feel it for a while, and all of a sudden it starts to get hot really quickly, which is that effect. Now this does cut slightly into the wood, but not as much as that knife edge does. So it creates like a little V shape in the wood. Does this, rather than the knife blade, which is sort of sharp enough to cut quite deep. This is great for doing one particular technique for animal fur. And again, being Wayne H timber, of course, I am copying this shed. But if I make it not quite as Wayne, or not, don't quite put the curve in the right place, no one's gonna know apart from me. So I kind of, again, you got a license, an artistic license, some might say, in order to make mistakes that nobody knows. And of course it's interpretation, isn't it? You interpret it slightly different to somebody else. So. Now then, although this is way in the edge, you can got to remember that it used to be the side of a tree, so you tend not to have sudden direction changes. You know, like there is a branch comes out, that's possibly what this was here, but it's a curved area. You'll get sharp angles as such with trees, so do have to keep it kind of smooth. Which with this tool can be quite a challenge to get, you know, small radius curves. You can do this by twiddling it like a steering wheel a little bit. And if I want really tight radius curves, I can actually flip this upside down, and then I can get tighter curves that way. These days it's quite challenging to get hold of this sort of wood as well. It's reasonably easy if you want sort of 2-inch wide boards, but if you want something like this which is sort of 12 inches wide, nah, that's more of a challenge. There aren't too many sawmills that cut wood like that. You gotta find one that's willing to bespoke cut wood for you. Now I'm sort of finishing these short because there's a corner board, and I don't want to, because the corner board is going in. If I went across right to where the corner would be, then they'd be crossing the corner board, and that's not right. So, or a corner fills in the gap. I'm not sure around the door, so I'm leaving space there. Now I'm working on plywood here. It's birch plywood, or I guess birch faced plywood, because just the two outer sides are birch. I don't know what the internal wood is. Probably not birch, because birch is more expensive. But it's a very nice white wood, or light wood, from which you get quite a nice range of browns when you apply heat. So it's one of the lighter woods. It's very good for pyrography. There is a ring structure like there is on many trees. With birch, the wood burns similarly across all the rings, so you get a reasonably consistent colour. Whereas with something like pine, the colour changes as you go across the ring structure, and also the wood, the rings and the wood between the rings has a different density. So as you apply heat, the wood that's between the rings shrinks away, but the rings don't. The rings also don't take colour very well. So you get to see these marks, the ring marks, and then the dips between them where the wood has shrunk away when you've applied heat. You don't get that effect with birch, either of those effects with birch. I'm using plywood. Well, one reason it's cheaper than solid birch, but also it's more dimensionally stable than solid birch is. When I finish this, I'll have applied pyrography over most of the surface, and it's very likely it won't warp. If I tried solid birch of this dimension, this thickness, it's only 2 or 3 millimeters, it would warp and bend and twist, and it'd be a real pain. And you need to go to sort of like a third, half an inch before it doesn't actually warp, which is relatively expensive wood. But small plywood like this, because of the way it's constructed, tends not to warp. It resists warping. You're back. Hello, Wolfie. You've been watching England. I haven't. No interest in the stuff. So, how are you doing? You just caught me. Because I only came up. Well, I intended to do a full stream tonight, but because I started late, I was going to still stop at the same time. But so, have England lost already? They seem to do that quite a bit. Not seen you for a while. What have you been up to? I've been up to something. I'm glad you're doing good, so am I. Yeah, they've lost too. Well, I expected that. So, do you know what this is? Monday, Wednesday and Friday, almost every week. Occasionally the odd one that I've not been on. I think Friday last week I stopped after about an hour because... Not Friday, Wednesday. Because I was painting. And even I was getting bored with with the stream whilst I was painting, and so it just so I stopped short on that one. But I've been doing 2 hours most nights. When I have been streaming, I've been building the truck up until then. So I've been, well, I'll say cracking on with that, but I have been getting on with it quite a bit. We're at the painting stage now, and I've done as much painting on stream as is reasonable, so the rest is taking place off stream. Go on then. Although I'll have to read it, I won't be able to hear it, but go on. I can see I'm going to need to get myself or write myself a little program to change the focus on this camera. So that it'll focus better. I don't think this one, this one's probably on autofocus. That one's on autofocus. That one focuses a bit better. Or at least it shows up a lot nicer. Germany got a new world record this week. They have. Okay. I tell you what, I had to work that one out for a while. Okay. I understand it. I'm not sure it's something that should be joked about as such, but I understand it. And it's reasonably funny. So have you any idea what I've got here on the board? Let's I can bring the camera down a bit more as well now that I'm doing pyrography. Yep, on Friday, last Friday, I went and did a course, glass blowing or glass working course out that I had designed for me specifically. So this was the most of it was glass working, but I actually at some point in the afternoon did some glass blowing. And this Christmas bauble was the first thing that I made by literally blowing glass. And that's the second one. The second one isn't quite as nice a shape. It's a different shape, but it's not quite as nice a shape. I didn't quite get that right, but it's for the first and the second attempt. I don't think they're bad. So it was quite good fun. And I also made a little daffodil. And again, you know, I need practice, but it wasn't bad. I've got a lot of other stuff as well, but I can't show you those because they're not due to arrive until either tomorrow or Wednesday. So I started glass blowing on Friday, 9 o'clock, 9:10. I already knew I wanted to carry on doing it. So I spent the whole day blowing glass. And that's got a sharp edge. Oh dear. So I will at some point, very soon now, be actually buying all the glass blowing kit and actually in this thing putting together a glass working studio, and I'll be doing some glass work. Yeah, well that's the intent anyway. It really depends on just how well, two things. how good an internet connection I can get into this shed. And the second will be if I can find a PC around here that will actually is powerful enough to do the streaming, because none of the laptops are. And I don't want to be lugging my desktop machine out there and back every night, or every time I want to stream. It really depends on me being able to find a machine. I might have one, but then I need to do some other work to free that machine up. So, yep, the intent is to do it on stream. So I've been making flowers, animals, pendants. And just playing with glass. It was good fun. And this is something called borosilicate glass, so it's quite tough stuff. And you heat it up to something like 1,000 degrees, and then it sort of starts to move. So I am actually surprised that hot glass. It is kind of weird, because you've got a flame at a few thousand degrees. You've got hot glass like there at 1,000 degrees, and I was when I bent that, I was holding this like this with a torch, raging torch, 1,000+ degrees of heat shooting that way, and I heated that up to almost 1,000 degrees, and I couldn't feel it. It's amazing stuff. Glass does not conduct heat. In fact, they were the hottest things to make, but only when you blow them out did it suddenly get hot. I was almost burning myself. But I want to get a drink now. It's quarter past. I must remember to turn that off as well. I was packing up actually, Wolfie. I'll be back on Wednesday doing some more pyrography. I'm not doing, well, I will be doing the truck again, just not for a while. I've got to finish the clear coat on it, so I'll be a couple of weeks, and then I'll probably do a couple of, well, I was going to say a couple of streams, putting the cab together onto the truck and fitting the radio, but then maybe by then we'll be in this place and doing some glass work. You left them a while ago, didn't you? Didn't they? Well, I thought that was a couple of months ago, or did you get into another one? I could have sworn. Well, my memory. I could have been thinking of something else. Yeah. Okay. I haven't missed something then. I didn't miss you starting another one and then coming back. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I do need to. Okay. Remind me never to play against you in the team then. And you got put in a casualty. Oh, okay. That's kind of a conflict somewhat, isn't it? I haven't played any games for quite a while. I can't get into them at the moment. I sort of tried playing some the other night. Tried playing a couple, and I played for 10 minutes and I've had enough. So, I don't know. I was watching the E3 stuff as well, and I couldn't find anything in there that particularly interested me in any of the new stuff that's coming up either, so I don't know. Maybe the glasswork has taken over for a little while and I've no interest in games. Maybe when I've done it for a bit I'll come back and play something. But I've got some videos to cut up now, so I will have to go get myself a cup of coffee, put some more of the videos up on YouTube, and then I'll begin to get some sleep tonight. It's been a busy few days. Should be back on Wednesday. Hopefully, I'm going to try and make it for 7 o'clock. Carry on with the hut, with the pyrography, and see how things go. So I shall see you later. You'll have to show me on Wednesday, Wolfie. I'll see you later. Thanks for popping in. It's nice to see you again. Nice to talk to you. And I say, I'll look forward to talking with you on Wednesday. Bye.